Why, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings, and today we're going to do a little Lord of the Rings excursion and Rise to War, and I want to talk about a few fun things with items, and a couple things we're going to do with items today, my friends. So, again, hope you're having a wonderful day in Middle-earth. I'm your host and guide, Solon Ironshield, as always, and I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and at the time of recording this, it's a couple of hours to New Year's, and it probably already is New Year's if you're watching this, so Happy New Year's to everybody around the world and all my friends. So we are going to jump right in to some games. I also, by the way, if you guys remember my previous Rise to War videos, I had a little bit of issue with lag. Well, I found a new emulator to use, so the load's still a little funny, but the in-game, it can use a bunch of RAM, so it shouldn't lag in the future keeps we take, yes, from my people who are from my fellowship in this game. Again, I will be having much Lord of the Rings Lotro content coming out in the next week or two, so we'll be doing some more fun stuff now that the holidays are over. Well, not quite for me, I still got another day or two, but it'll be very fun indeed, my friends, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a nice cup of tea or coffee or whatever you like. I'm not a big coffee drinker myself, but I do like my tea. Indeed I do. Alright, so this will be very, very fun. I just want to do a quick little video and get this out. Hopefully I'll get this out right on the New Year day. And then we'll do some more fun content after that. So mainly our main points today, my friends. So right off the bat, we're going to get straight into the items I want to talk about. We're going to basically be doing, I have a hammer that's almost maxed, but I want to switch what ability it has on it. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. And I actually learned this from a good friend, another channel which you should check out, one of my friends in our game. Ooh, that is bright. Jethros. So he's taught us how to do an item thing. You never lose your items, guys, when you put them into other items. So there's a few things I want to talk about with this. And also I need to slightly turn down the in-game music because it's a little bit loud. So we're just gonna... That's probably a good level right there. Because if it's too loud, I won't be able to hear myself talk, and you guys won't be able to hear me. All right, let's jump straight into it, my friends. So, as you know, I always recommend that if you're playing Rise to War, you should stick to, like, 5 champions at most. When you're first starting, maybe only 2 or 3 that you're putting a lot into. What I mean by putting a lot into, I'm going to move myself over here. If you can see right here with my items, right? So basically what I'm talking about is, as you can see, these are all really high stars. Again, for people who are new, the silver stars are strengthenings, which means you put other items into it, and the gold ones are refinings, which are basically the exact kind of item to refine them, to upgrade their abilities. And you're curious, the difference is, when I click on this real quick, you can see here, I can't strengthen it anymore. It's got 5 silver stars, and the refined stars, the gold ones, overlay the silver stars. But you can't refine unless it's already strengthened. Okay? Alright, get that out of the way. So here's what I want to do today, my friends. I have this weapon on my Gimli. It's called Concussion, which is the refinement ability, right? So this is what's being refined, this ability. When you strengthen, it's going to upgrade your stats on the weapon, whether it be for your commander or your armies. Okay? So that's the first thing I want to tell you. But if I jump over to my items here, we're going to look at the weapon I would like to use instead. So I actually have this hammer that is dwarf allies get damage increase, right? That you're leading your army. So basically here's all the abilities you could have on this particular hammer, right? So this war hammer can have these 4 different abilities, and now I'm in the way of this one right here. Again, purple items, never very good to use them for the unit when it says like for footmen. That's a tier 2 unit. It's not very good. You're not going to be using that for the most of the game. You're going to be using tier 3 units, right? Tier 3 and 4 units, which I'm not going to go into that because I'll confuse people. But we're going to talk about the switching operation, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hammer, and again, I learned this from Jethros, so I want to give full credit to Jethros. So you guys need to check out his channel too. I'll leave a link down there for you. So I'm going to strengthen the war hammer, all right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to... First, you have to upgrade it once, right? So what I'm doing is I want this refinement ability on my fully tiered up hammer instead. And you're like, wait, how do you do that? Well, never fear. It is possible. So the first thing that's kind of a bummer is you have to unequip it, right? So I'm going to have to go to my guy who is battling right now, or about to battle. So I'm going to have to wait 1 minute. So we'll talk about something first, and then I'm going to show you how to do that. Item switching, basically reversing what is your refined ability on the item without losing anything. I will explain it in a moment. But before we do that, there was another thing I wanted to explain to you guys today, or talk about if you don't know or do know. This is a really cool thing. So there's this new thing in the tavern here. That is this guy right here, and it's this one. Again, this one that says sell equipment, I recommend you never do that, okay? Never sell your equipment for gold. That is a waste of your equipment, okay? So you do not want to do that. Usually there is a way to... I don't want to get off track here. Let's go to impart wisdom. That's what I was talking about first. So again, if you already don't know what this is, it is awesome. Basically what this is you can get a total of 4 on each hero of extra skill points to put into your tree permanently. You just get them forever. But it's a little bit pricey the way you get them. So for example, if I want to get more skill points for Dwalin here, right? I click on this, say impart, and then basically what you do is if you look down here at this thing, when I put points into it, armor, it will fill this up. When I get to that to 100, which I'm not going to do right this second, but see now it's at 100 with purples are obviously more expensive, so it gives you more points there. I will upgrade it to the level 2. I will get another point, and it says right there also when you switch your armor to obtain 50% equipment familiarity instantly, which means is if you know when you switch your items, you lose the familiarity and you have to do not mock battles. You have to do fight mobs or fight other people or just do battles on tiles to get that familiarity back, and then you get like, because you lose like 50 almost more % of the stats on the item until you learn it again on your character. It's so you can't just switch out items really fast. But this is really awesome because basically each of these levels gives for all different 4 pieces of the armor for that hero, that when he switches it he always is at 50%, right? Or she, depending on what the hero is. So that is very good. Everyone already knows this though. So anyway, but this is still good to know. Again, you can also use, a lot of people don't know this, your scraps to empower towards the thing. But there is a little funny thing going on right now, and I just talked to this recently. I am hoping that they won't continue this. But when you go into items, when you go to your respect items, you can dismantle, right? To get these points and these trade for the Mathem's market. It used to be there was a dismantle button at the bottom of your items so you can get those scraps. But now they took that away, which is really weird. So there's no way to dismantle them, which is also weird because if you go into the Mathem store, you go to exchange, it still costs these to exchange. So if I want this hammer, which I do right now, I can't exchange any of my items to get these shards. So I'm thinking maybe after the Christmas event they're going to change that back or change something. So we'll see. But that is really weird that they removed that button. And other people have told me that too. So I know it's not just me. Maybe it's a glitch. I don't think so though. But again, see, you can dismantle your items to trade for other respect items. You can do that with respect items still, but not other ones. I found that weird. Anyway, but that's okay. So Gimli is destroying this tile. He's almost done. I am going to have to wait for him to finish that, unfortunately, before I could do the item switch for you. But I can actually do an item switch on another character. So let's continue. I had a few I wanted to show you guys today. All right, so for one, I had to do... Let me look at my commandos real quick so I can show you guys this. Stay in the middle here. So here is my Imrahil. Alright, so Gimli is going to get his special weapon sooner or later when I have enough, because I'm just trying to save these up, right, which are expensive, so he can get his special battle axe. And when he has that, his warhammer will be going over to Dwalin. But until that time, you can see that my Dane has some awesome setup, and actually no, his warhammer will be going to Balin. But I would like to actually use, now Dwalin already has a special weapon, which is nice. I am thinking of using this item, the Cutlass, on Imrahil. I think that's what I'm going to do. So that's what I've been debating the last 2 days, and I wanted to show you this guy's in action, and especially I really want to show you the Gimli switch of the item. That's what I really want to show you. So when Gimli's done in 2 minutes, we will do that. Alright, so, I'm going to just give him some more of this. This is my setup right now. I'm still doing tests on setups for him. I don't know what I like yet on him for that. But, again, I'm going to need to switch this out right now. So what I'm going to do is There's one other item I wanted to upgrade here for you guys. As you can see here, I actually pumped this thing up to full max, which is rather crazy, the hit line. 120% HP for one ally every 2 rounds. That's healed, recovered. That's pretty good. It's pretty amazing. Alright. So, let me get my mindset here in order real quick. You guys are all like, get on with the video. I'm sorry. Forgive me, everyone. Alright, so I was debating what I wanted to put as this item, and I think I am going to give Imrahil the Cutlass because it gives speed, it gives army melee attack, and might, which is all things I wanted. But what I might actually end up doing is I might use a different Cutlass ability. I might use melee might, possibly. Or Flay, which is the first 4 rounds your allied commander's physical damage ignores 5% of the target's armor, which could be very good as well. But since he really buffs his horses, he does do good damage himself too, but I'm thinking I'm going to go for the Cutlass with... Smite could also be decent, but he doesn't really normal attack too much, so I'm going to go with the one that does melee damage, allied units damage. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So the first things first, I'll have to take it off Ballin, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take it off Ballin. I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. So if you're like, I really don't want Smite anymore, I want to use the other Cutlass, but will I lose all my stuff? You don't, but there is a trick. So you unequip off your character. Alright? So I'm going to take it off Ballin. Now, Ballin already has the respect thing, so when I give him another item, it'll be back at 50% familiarity, right? But anyway, okay, we're going to go over to Imrahil. We're going to unequip this Ranger's Dagger. Alright. And now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to... the one I want to use was the Allied Melee Damage. Because, again... he's using 2 different groups of melee units. I'm using the human Cataphracts horses, and then the Gondorian ones, and then I'm also going to either be using the Rohirrim horses or the Wargs, right? So, and then I'm also using Elven Bone Knights in my setup. So, and I'm trying to figure out the best setup for all of that. I'm really just debating between if I want to use Flay or use this melee damage. The commander or not, because he does have some decent damage. Again, if you want to, this is the kind of stuff you really need to think about ahead, guys. But you got to be not afraid to use your items on like only a couple heroes. You probably shouldn't be spreading all your items out over all your heroes. Just have a couple basic lower level items on your ones you don't use as much, and you're like 4 or 5 main commanders. You should be trying to put all your stuff into those. That's what Zelen Iron Shield would suggest to you all. All right. Anyway. So, he does do a lot of damage, but it's affected by speed. He buffs his team, though, more than he does damage. So we're going to go with melee damage. Because I could also do the one that gives melee damage on the actual skill tree as well. Stack those. That would be pretty good. So we're going to go with the melee damage. So, oh, and Gimli is also finished. Fantastic. Alright, sweet. So we'll actually... we'll do Gimli first, because everyone want to get this done. Alright, so there's Gimli's, right? So I'm going to go ahead. At first I have to unequip, which is a little bit rough, right? It's like, oof, unequipping Gimli's axe there. But, I mean, hammer. And then I'm going to go, I already upgraded the hammer I want to use with 1 point. The reason for this is you have to upgrade it once, right? I'm going to go ahead and equip it. Alright, so now not quite as good. But if you notice, he did get 50 on the little thing right here, right? The little dot. Because he had the special thing from the wisdom turning in, right? An extra skill point. Pretty cool. So, now what you have to do is now you can refine, right? But you're like, wait a second, I don't have enough hammers to refine, right? I only have this thing to refine, right? Well, never fear, alright? So, basically what you can do is you can strengthen, right? Your hammer. Use the hammer you have here. Boop. Alright? And what's going to happen is it's going to use up one of them and put the rest back on your thing, right? So, let me just do this right here. Alright, and also I want to make something clear. Do not strengthen it like that, okay? So, I just realized, I was just thinking about it. So when you do it, you strengthen the new one you want once. Then, you refine it with the good one that you already had, right? That it's already fully done. Because the reason being is you're only using one, and it's going to pull out the other ones. If you do it the other way around, I was just told, I actually got a little, I messaged Jethro real quick to make sure I was right on this. You'll lose one, he was saying. So basically you'll lose one of your weapons, it might be just, it won't be lost. You'll still be able to use it as a strengthening one, but one of them will become a useless for refining. It'll be a worn out item. So you want to refine with the special weapon. So again, I'm doing that right. So now what's going to happen is it might give you a little warning on the screen when you do it. But what's going to happen is it's going to do it. Don't freak out. You're not going to lose all your stuff. All right. So you go back out. And now what happens is, if you notice, I have a bunch of hammers. See what happened there? Hammer, 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 hammer. And then hammer. Lots of hammers, right? So now if I go to strengthening, and by the way, it's also, so now I got to strengthen this thing up, right? So I'm going to go ahead and strengthen. But again, look at all these worn out items it gave us. So you see what happened? It pulled out all the worn out items that I originally strengthened with. And at the same time, it pulled out all the hammers I used to refine with. Just, do you see? Because again, how do you strengthen this game? You can use any other purple weapon. If it's a weapon, you use any purple weapon to strengthen. If it's a refinement, you have to use the same weapon, right? So a hammer for a hammer, or it has to be the axe for the axe, or it has to be the cutlass for the cutlass, or the, you know, the bow for the bow, that kind of thing, right? With the purples, the same with gold, same with all of them. So it works the same way. So now basically you just go through and use your worn outs to strengthen it all the way up, right? So we're just going to strengthen it all the way up to the top. All right, I don't know, well, taking a sweet time to strengthen, isn't it? All right, so there's one. All right, we're going to use more worn out items. And again, if you only needed one more thing at that point at the end, you should have the exact amount to finish it, right? Because you don't lose any, right? You just basically, what happens is the one you use to strengthens, they don't come back as the items before. They're worn out, but you can still use them to strengthen other items, or weapons in this case. I'm doing weapons, right? There's a difference. There's the 4 kinds, right? They're accessory, weapon, helmet, and chest piece, or armor. All right, and then I should have 8 worn out ones to finish out the hammer. And again, you can see how much work it is to get a full level max one, right? Like, that's a lot of purple swords or axes or whatever they were from strengthening. Okay, now it's maxed up there again. So fantastic, right? Now we're at the top. So now what we're going to do is, now that it's up there, and do you see how the number's lower here? It's because he needs to get the familiarity to get that up, right? But now we're going to do the refining, and basically I'm just going to use all my hammers to refine it. All the hammers. And again, right now that's 4.5 extra damage, right? And I can just keep adding refinements of my hammers because I'm using allied dwarves allied units damage dealt. This is allied units, you guys. That means ranged axe throwers and your melee units and your ram riders, your goat riders, whatever you're using at the time. So this is going to be very, very powerful, as you can see. All right, and then, oh, you know what? And I actually needed one more hammer still, I believe. I think that's why I can't do it. Yes, I still need, okay, don't freak. You're probably thinking right now, wait a second, I thought you didn't lose one. I didn't. I still needed one more hammer. That's the reason I found out the other day that they took away the dismantling thing, because I was so excited when I saw this exchange, because I need this hammer. But they got rid of the exchanging, so I can't get these things anymore, which is really weird. I don't know why they've done that. So, again, I hope they change that back. That's why I said at the beginning of the video. But now you guys know how to switch it. Of course, now I have to use him in get a couple mobs or do a couple tiles, make sure his familiarity goes all the way back to up to 100 up there. So this is 100 down here again, and these will double up to back where their original mounts were, which is like 36 and 21, I think, defense. They're a little bit less than half when you don't know the weapon. But as you can see too, the refinement 7.4% damage. I think it's 9.5 when this is 5 stars. So I just need one more hammer for that. So that's pretty cool. So now you know how to do that. Let's do it one more time so you guys can kind of see. You're welcome to stay. Don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. It really does help me out. But that was the main stuff I wanted to show you. And then also the imparting wisdom. When you turn in weapons and basically you get extra skill points. And when you put items back on, it'll make that character get more faster familiarity with the item, which is fantastic. We're going to look at that one more time real quick. I just want to talk about that one more time. So again, as you can see, if you go down here, I already have these all done. They're all out of 4, so they have all of that. Those are my main heroes. Again, I'd recommend with this, since you really probably don't have that many items, you want to try to focus on, for first thing first, upgrading your items, strengthening, and then refining with similar items, right? You want to find out which ones you like, do that. Pick like 2 to 5 champions depending on how big you are and how long you've been playing the game, if you have the resources for that. And then also after that, don't forget to, when you're doing this, choose the leaders you really think you need more points for one. That's the big part. then you can, like, for example, I want more points in Dwalin, so I'll do another one in Dwalin, right? So again, I could use up stuff right now. I'm not going to right this second because I want to strengthen first, because again, that's always more important. Strengthen the cutlass first, and then extras you have that you aren't using, get extra points here, right? That kind of stuff. And then also the skill familiarity bonuses for that. So again, super cool. I love this Impart Wisdom. Sell items, useless. Don't do that. Don't waste your items on gold. You can get gold otherwise easy. All right. So now we're going to go back to Commanders, and now Gimli's done. I took off the item already off Ballin, but now I want to explain to do it one more time so we can get a little bit of practice in it, okay? Including for myself. All right, so we are going to use the, I think, oh, actually, I'm sorry. He's not going to be using it. It's actually going to be Imrahil that's going to be using it. So, I forgot. I'm going to be giving Ballin Gimli's hammer later. Alright, so what I'm going to do is allied melee unit damage. I believe that's the one I want. Again, if you don't know what all that weapon has, if you only have one or two and you want to be curious, maybe I want to hold on to it later because I'll be able to use a different ability on it, right? Underneath, because they're random. The ability on the underneath is always random. So you can go in here, when you have your item, click on that, click on this. Here's all the stats that this particular cutlass can have. And you can max them out with this button down here to see how good they are at full refinement. So again, Flay is good. If you're using a commander that's physical damage, you can ignore up to 30% defenses. That's pretty strong. Again, my commander, Imrahil, is going to be more focused on buffing his troops. So I think I'm going to do the melee might. Smite, he doesn't really hit. He only autos once at a time, and he has okay focus, but it's not really that high. So a character like Gandalf, fantastic to have Smite on, right? But there is a gold item that has a better Smite thing going on. But again, okay, so we're going to go ahead and use the melee might one. So I'm going to strengthen it once, and also I'm not going to strengthen it with a cutlass. Okay, right, guys? Because I want to use cutlasses for refining. So use an item you're not going to use on anyone else. If you have a worn out item, even better. Use the worn out item, right? Okay, so boom, we use the worn out item. Fantastic. All right, so now we got that. Great. Now I'm going to go to the same item, right? You could do this through the character like I did, or you could do it through this item panel, right? So the refine button's right here below me. I'm not going to click the refine button. So we're going to now refine it, right? So when we refine it, we go and we're going to use the item that already has all the stacks because it'll pull the items back out when you refine it once. You won't lose anything, right? You'll use exact same what you put in on that item you're going to get back, right? All right, boom. There we go. So now you have more cutlasses. So now we're going to strengthen this thing up. So we're going to have a bunch of broken down ones, right? Because we just pulled them out of the other one. So I'm going to use the ones I have to strengthen this thing up. And I was only level 3 with this thing. So I'd like to try to get it up there all the way. That would be really cool. So we might do that right now. So I might use some weapons I'm not going to use on other people to strengthen it even more and try to keep my cutlasses for later. So I only have 2 more because we had at level 3. I want to get level 4 now. So I'm going to use some other things I'm not going to use. And what I'm going to use is actually, I think I'm going to use my battle axe. I know you're like, what? Your battle axe? But your battle axe is, you know, where's my high level battle axe? Here it is right here. It's fully upgraded, right? Look at that thing. It's crazy. Why would you do that? Well, the reason being is I actually have no one I think I'm going to use this on for a long time. Because my main commanders are Dwalin, Dane, who are not going to use it because they have great weapons. Gimli, he's going to have his own axe. Ballin is going to have this warhammer that Gimli has. And my last one, Imrahil, is going to have the cutlass because he can't really use... Might is good, but I would rather have the speed because he gets modified from speed, and that'll help him and his soldiers. And also, I like the stats better. The stats on the axe just aren't very good for leading. There are some okay ones. Allied melee and its damage dealt plus 1.5%. That's pretty good, right? That is pretty good. But again, it's not worth... So 40 might, and if I max out the cutlass, it's going to have like... I think it's like... It's almost 3/4 the might. Not quite. It's like 60%. And it has a bunch of speed too. And then a buff to the army. So cutlass is better. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to strengthen it with the big axe. Okay, again, now I might lose one axe. I won't lose it, but what's going to happen is one of the axes that I would have gotten back normally is going to get crunched. Like it's going to turn into a worn item when I use it to strengthen. But we're going to use it anyway. So here we go. All right, perfect. Fantastic. So now if you look, it did give me back almost my axes. One of them might have been turned into a item, worn out item. I believe it does, is what Jethros was telling me. All right. And now we are going to strengthen the cutlass one more time. And I could use the axes, but again, you can see I have a bunch of worn out items down from that other axe that I just broke down. So I might not even, look at that, I even have an extra. Fantastic, right? That's the nice thing. Again, I'm not using an axe anymore, and I was like, how am I going to use, what a waste, blah, blah, blah. It's a waste, right? No, it's not. No, it's not. You keep all your stuff. So strengthening an item is never a waste if you know how to pull them back out correctly. All right? So now it's fully ready to go. So again, you can see these stats on this thing, right? 24 might, 18 speed. Again, if you compare that to the axe has a tiny, axe has like 44 might or something, 46 might at level 5 like this. But again, I'm getting about half with might, but I'm getting +3 melee damage to my whole army and 18 speed. So again, I think the cutlass is better for Imrahil. Make sure you know that your hero and what they need. All right, so refining. So we're gonna go ahead and refine. Could be doing this when I'm talking. I just don't want to do something wrong, so I'm like talking and then doing it. Because as you guys know, we do a lot of work to get these items in this game. So this is the one thing you kind of keep over the seasons, right? You keep the respect of your heroes, not the levels, but the respect level. A little different thing, as you all know. And your items, you keep your items. And they're huge, right? Their stats really can change the tide of a war. All right. Oh, look at that. I had just the right amount. I knew I did. So that is a maxed out cutlass right there, my friends. A maxed out cutlass. 9% increased damage for my soldiers. Look at those stats. +3 attack. It's fantastic. They are melee soldiers, right? But I'm going to have 2 groups of melee units in my army. So that is great. So now I'm going to go over to my commander Imrahil. And I'm going to give him his fancy new sword. And if you notice, when I equip it, he already has 50% familiarity because of that bonus thing I did with the wisdom thing. So I only have to go and fight on a tile or two, or go do a couple, mob fights, and I'll be able to get that up to 100%. But again, if you click on it, see how it's lower. But when I get it up, this will be 3, this will be 24, and this will be, what was it, 12? 16? No, it was like 18? It was 18 or 19? I don't remember. But this will always stay the same until you familiarity. This doesn't matter. Refining always gives you the flat amount. All right. Well, I hope that helped a little, my friends. That went a little longer than I was expecting to go, but now you kind of know how to do it. So now look at that. So I just need one more hammer, but now he has a new ability on his strength on his Warhammer, and Imrahil now has a very nice, different ability on his cutlass that I took from Balin, and it's maxed out. Again, those stats will be better once they've learned them, and my top guys are looking pretty good. And in the meantime, poor Mr. Balin here needs something, so he might just get a generic weapon thrown at him temporarily. Maybe I'll just give him some might, speed, and ally melee damage temporarily until he gets Gimli's weapon in the future. Could give him this Matlock. This is pretty good too, but I'm saving this for later. This is still better right now because he's buff. He's a buffer. He buffs his troops. All right. Well, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that helped you out about the items, how to basically switch them, right? And then also we have about the wisdom thing, right, in the tavern. I mean, the imparting wisdom. Fantastic thing, you guys. Free 4 skill points. Past when you hit level 50 with the unit. That's really good. Or the respect skill points. So again, that is really, really good. As you can see, since I have those 4 and my Gimli is respect 10, if you look at my Gimli here real quick, I'm just going to want to show you this real quick. Look at how many points I can have. Okay, so this is my build on Gimli. As you can see right here, I have... basically, Glittering Caves is almost maxed out, except for Open Wound. I just leave a couple points in. Durn's Blood's totally maxed out. And also, Lockbearer has 8 points, and the defense. This really has seemed to help my army not die as fast, while Gimli does a lot of damage. Really helps. So, again, you could do this too, but I have to sacrifice for the Gimli damage. You know what I'm saying? Alright, I hope you guys have a wonderful day in Middle-earth. There was one more thing I wanted to tell you real quick. What was it? I don't want to forget. Oh, very important, guys. When you put your points in, to the tree, all right, for Gimli, you need to put in, so putting your points, when you put your points in, put the first point in break defense. It just matters for the skill order. I know it's a weird thing, but you just have to put 1 point in this, and then I usually put 1 point in that, and then I'll put 1 point in whirlwind, and then the last active skill, see if you notice these are all active skills I'm telling you about, doesn't matter with the other ones, Sometimes it does, but not in this case. And then you put one last point in, all in, and then you can max out all your points. But what it does is when you put it, it does the right skill order when they land on the same round. I know it's really weird. Jethros has tested it, so we know it's a real thing. They don't tell us that in the logs or anything in the game, but you know, sometimes you have to learn a little bit in the game, learn the tricks of the trade, if you know what I'm saying. All right, I think that is all I wanted to show you guys today, and you guys have a wonderful day in Middle-earth. Happy New Year again, my friends. Thank you for joining me if you watched the whole video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will have more Lord of the Rings Online content coming out too, and other Lord of the Rings things I'm also excited about that Gollum game this year. So that'll be really fun. So anyway, don't forget to click that subscribe button that's going to pop up right there. And the next episode of this playlist will be up there in the top left. And our main playlist, A Locher Tale, will be right over there. So you guys have a wonderful day in Middle-earth and Happy New Year, my friends. Cheers.